There are days when you don't tell anyone how you're really doing, not your closest friend, not the person you live with, not the one who asks how you are over the phone and actually means it. Some days the weight of what you're carrying is so specific, so internal, so difficult to translate into words that it stays exactly where it is, inside. Behind the ordinary face you bring to the ordinary day, invisible to everyone around you. Everyone, that is, except one. Your cat knew, before you said a word. Before you changed anything visible about your behavior or your routine or the way you moved through your own home, before you even fully admitted it to yourself, your cat knew something was wrong. Maybe it appeared from wherever it had been and came to sit near you, closer than usual. Maybe it watched you from across the room with an attention so focused and so steady that it almost felt like being held. Maybe it did something it rarely does, climbed onto your chest, or pressed its head against your hand, or simply refused to leave the room, settling near your feet with a patience that had no end. And maybe, in that moment, something in you that had been holding very tight finally let go, just a little. Most people write this off as coincidence, as projection, as the very human tendency to find meaning in the behavior of the animals we love. But here is what the science is now telling us, clearly, consistently, and with a specificity that is almost impossible to dismiss. Your cat was not imagining your pain. It was detecting it, with senses so finely tuned to the physiological and emotional landscape of the people it loves that it perceived your distress as a concrete, measurable reality, long before you gave it any external reason to. Stay with me, because this story goes somewhere that most conversations about cats and human emotion never reach, and the place it ends up will change the way you understand every quiet moment your cat has ever given you on a difficult day. Let's start with what your cat is actually reading when it reads you. The human body, in emotional distress, is not as quiet as we believe it to be. We feel hidden in our pain because we have learned to hide our faces, to regulate our expressions, to keep our voices even and our posture composed. We are extraordinarily skilled as a species at concealing what we feel from the other humans around us, because those other humans are reading the same channels we are guarding. The face, the words, the visible, legible surface of us. But your cat is not reading those channels, or rather, it is reading those and also everything else, everything that your body broadcasts without your knowledge or your control. Your breathing changes when you are in emotional pain, not dramatically in most cases, not in a way you would notice or that another person would immediately flag, but in a way that is completely detectable to a creature whose auditory system can identify and categorize sounds at volumes 4 times below the human threshold of perception. The slight irregularity, the fractional shallowness, the almost imperceptible difference in the rhythm of a body under emotional load versus a body at ease. Your cat hears this, not as data that it consciously processes, but as a signal that registers in its nervous system as a change, a departure from the baseline of you that it has been building and refining since the first days of your life together. Your heart rate changes too. Your skin temperature shifts. Your body produces a measurably different hormonal signature under emotional stress, elevated cortisol, altered adrenaline patterns, a biochemical landscape that is detectably distinct from the one your resting, comfortable body produces. And your cat, with its approximately 200 million olfactory receptors to your 5 million, reads this chemical signature in the air around you with a clarity and a precision that is genuinely difficult to put into human language. You were broadcasting your pain on frequencies you didn't know you were transmitting. And your cat, tuned to those frequencies by years of intimate attention, received the signal loud and clear. Something deeper was happening in that moment of quiet knowing than intuition or coincidence or the comforting stories we tell ourselves about the animals we love. This was perception, accurate, specific, biologically grounded perception of your actual physiological and emotional state. Your cat did not guess that you were not okay. It knew. But here's the thing, knowing is only the beginning of this story. What comes after the knowing, what your cat does with the information it has received, is where the story becomes something extraordinary. Think about what cats do not do when they detect human distress. They do not panic, they do not perform, they do not rush at you with the overwhelming body-first enthusiasm that dogs sometimes bring to moments of human pain. The kind of well-meaning intensity that can, in its own way, amplify rather than soothe. They do not meow loudly or demand attention or insert themselves into your space in ways that redirect your focus onto them rather than letting it settle into the comfort of their presence. What cats do, The specific, deliberate, almost architectural thing they do is calibrate. They read the situation with that extraordinary perceptual sensitivity, and then they respond not with a generic comfort behavior, but with something shaped precisely to what they are reading. Some cats come close, some come very close, climbing onto the chest, pressing their warm weight directly against the body of the person in distress, positioning themselves in a way that delivers heat and vibration and presence in the most physically direct form possible. Some cats stay near but not on, within touching distance, available without imposing. Some cats simply move into the room and stay there, quietly, without demand, just present. And this calibration, this capacity to read not just the presence of distress, but its quality, its depth, its specific texture, and to respond with the particular form of presence that this specific person in this specific moment actually needs, is not accidental. It is not random comfort behavior. It is something that researchers in human-animal interaction are only beginning to have language for. What most owners don't realize is that their cat's response to their pain is not generic. It is personal, tailored through long and careful attentiveness to who they are and how they receive comfort. Your cat has been learning across every difficult day you have shared your life together what you need when you are not okay. And it brings that specific thing in that specific way because it knows you. It knows you the way that only a being who has been paying attention without any other agenda, purely, patiently, consistently attentive, can know another living creature. And this is where it gets interesting because the comfort your cat offers in those moments is not only emotional, it is biological. And the biology of it is something that the scientific community is now documenting in ways that should stop all of us in our tracks. We explored the purr in an earlier story, the fact that the specific frequency range of a cat's purr sits within the band that clinical research associates with bone healing, tissue repair, and pain reduction. But there is another dimension to what that purr does to the human body in moments of emotional distress that goes beyond vibration therapy. The presence of a cat, specifically close physical contact with a cat, produces measurable changes in human neurochemistry. Oxytocin levels rise. This is the hormone most commonly associated with bonding, with trust, with the specific warmth of feeling safe in connection with another being. It is the hormone that flows between a parent and a child in moments of comfort, between two people in a moment of genuine, open-hearted intimacy, between any two beings of any species in a moment of mutual, trusting closeness. When your cat climbs onto your chest on a difficult day and begins to purr, your body releases oxytocin in response, not as a side effect, not incidentally, as a direct neurochemical consequence of the contact and the sound and the warmth and the specific quality of presence that the cat brings. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone flooding your system, begins to measurably decrease. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, your nervous system begins, physically and chemically, to come down from the ledge it has been standing on. Your cat is not simply sitting with you in your pain. In the most precise and literal biological sense, it is treating you for it, running an intervention on your neurochemistry that requires no prescription, no referral, no understanding on either side of what is happening. Just closeness, just presence, just the ancient, extraordinary engine of comfort that your cat's body was built to produce, and that your body was apparently built, across thousands of years of coevolution, to receive. Something deeper is happening in those quiet moments than one living creature comforting another. This is a physiological partnership, two bodies, calibrated to each other over time, doing something together that neither could do alone. Now let's go somewhere that this story leads that I think deserves to be said plainly and without sentiment. There are people alive today who credit their cats with saving their lives. Not metaphorically, not in the soft, grateful way we sometimes say that love saved us, but specifically, concretely, in the way that the presence of another being on the worst night of their existence gave them a reason to stay, a reason to make it to morning, a warm, purring, entirely uncomplicated weight on the chest that made the darkness a little less total. This is documented. It appears in research on the mental health benefits of pet ownership. It appears in clinical literature on loneliness and suicidality and the role of animal companionship in creating friction, small, daily, embodied friction, against the drift toward hopelessness. It appears in thousands of personal accounts from people who found, at the lowest point of their lives, that their cat did not leave, did not look away, did not become frightened by the depth of what it was sitting beside. Cats, unlike almost any other presence in a person's life, do not become uncomfortable with human pain. They do not shift in their seats or check their phones or try to fix the unfixable with advice or distraction. They do not have the particular human discomfort with sustained suffering that causes even the most loving people to sometimes, without meaning to, make a person in pain feel that their pain is too much, too heavy, too long. A cat stays for as long as it takes, with a patience that has no bottom and no agenda, and no need for the pain to resolve itself on any particular timeline. It simply remains, in the full weight of what it is, next to the full weight of what you are carrying, and it does not flinch. What most owners don't realize in those difficult moments when they feel most alone is that the creature sitting beside them is performing one of the most sophisticated acts of compassion in the animal world. Not in spite of what it doesn't understand, but in some ways, because of it. Your cat cannot comprehend the specific content of your pain, the particular shape of the grief or the fear or the exhaustion that has you in its grip, and that incomprehension is paradoxically part of what makes its presence so restful. There is no judgment in it, no interpretation, no narrative about what your pain means or how long it should last or what you should be doing differently. Just presence, just warmth, just the steady, unbroken signal. You are not alone in this. And now, the part of this story that I want to carry forward with you. The cat that comes to you on your worst days is not performing kindness. It is not acting on training or instruction or the expectation of reward. It is acting on something that lives in the deepest part of its nature, the drive toward the being it is bonded to, activated not despite your distress but because of it, because you are its person. And when its person is in pain, its ancient, extraordinary biology says simply and without complexity, go to them. Think about all the times that happened, all the difficult mornings and impossible evenings and 3 a.m. hours that you moved through alone, except that you weren't alone, except that there was a small, warm, breathing presence that chose you, found you, stayed with you through the length of it, that neither needed you to be okay, nor required you to perform okayness for its comfort, that met you exactly where you were and remained there without condition, without limit, without any measure of how much was too much. You have been less alone in your hardest moments than you may have ever fully understood, because something in your home, something small and warm and woven completely into the fabric of your daily life, has been paying attention to you in a way that goes beyond what most people ever receive from another living being. It has been reading you, learning you, carrying a knowledge of you so detailed and so intimate that it can detect a shift in your emotional state from across the house, through a closed door, from the changed quality of your breathing in a dark and silent room. And when it knows you are not okay, which it always does, before you say a word, before you show a sign, before you have even named what is wrong to yourself, it comes. Not because you asked, not because it has to, not because it gets anything in return, because you are its person, and its person needed it. And in the whole private moral universe of the creature that chose you, that has always been and will always be enough. You are not as alone as the hard days tell you. Your cat has been making sure of that, quietly and without recognition, for longer than you know. If this story reached something true in you today, share it with someone who needed to hear it. And if you want to keep exploring the profound and hidden emotional world of cats, stay right here. There will always be more to discover.